When we choose tires, we've got to optimize the tread design for the type of texture we're running on. If we're running on a really loose track that's got a lot of texture, we want a deep tread to dig into it. If we're running on a hard surface where the texture is much smaller, we run a smaller tread. In this case, we've got a dirt oval track that's just being broken in before the race. The race will start with the track very, very loose, and by the end of the day, it will become hard packed. In this case, we'll want to change tires, or change the tire itself. Tall tread designs don't work very well on hard-packed tracks because they'll roll over and lose their grip. We must modify the tire and cut the tread shorter. We use a pair of side cutter pliers. By cutting them, we make them sharper and shorter, and this makes them more resistant to rolling over. This is a set of Losi X-Pattern tires, which is a very good all-around design and can be modified to work on many different types of tracks. Here we're using the stock tires on my RC10 truck. They work pretty good on this surface, especially after nipping them. And this is a JRX Pro, which we're using X-pattern backs and stagger fronts. My truck also is used extensively in off-road racing, and here we have a track that's a good medium to medium firm surface. The tires that were supplied with the truck worked sufficiently when they were clipped, but as you can see, they would get a little loose at high speeds. The top racer in the class was using pin spike rears and stagger block fronts, and they were very popular in the buggy class also, as were X-patterns. The pinspike tire is a little more suited for this hard surface. Here we have an asphalt oval, which is the same track converted later on in the week. And this particular surface gets very hard, so to get better traction, we use foam tires. And here we have an asphalt race, and as you know, foam is the tire of choice in asphalt. You can see the trend that develops. The loose surfaces use larger tread, and asphalt, the hardest, uses foam. It's pretty obvious to most people that we need to pick the right kind of tire for the surface. But most people don't realize you need to pick the right kind of tire for the type of traction you need also. Some designs are biased towards side bite or cornering grip, and others are biased towards forward bite or acceleration. Tread running front to rear provides better side bite, and running side to side provides better forward grip. Often we can use these properties to dial an off-road car's cornering ability in without using the suspension. This way, we can use the suspension to dial in the jumps and tire choice to dial in cornering. When we're using foam tires on the oval, we can also groove them in the direction that we need to gain the type of traction that we need. Running foam tires on asphalt is a little different since we usually don't have tread on them. On asphalt, we primarily pick them due to their hardness or the type of compound that makes them up. Blue is a good medium compound that we use widely on most of our tracks. They range all the way from yellow, which is the softest in TRC's line, all the way to orange, which is rock hard. Most asphalt tracks are in the green and blue range, and dirt ovals are usually always running yellows. Tires are supposed to be round, and that's why we true them and balance them. For a budget tire truer, all you need is assortment of sandpaper, nails, a board, nut and bolt to fit your rim, and a power drill. Make sure the bolt is snug or this could throw your tire out of round. You'll have to run the drill in reverse or the nut will loosen. Work very slowly and smoothly, and before long you'll have a perfectly round tire. This method also works well for removing the old rubber off of the rim before you put the new tire on it. You can also get a small performance gain by balancing your tires. Spin them slightly and then mark the side that comes down. This is the heavy side. Add weight exactly opposite of this point to bring them in balance, or try mounting your rims in a different position until you find one that's balanced. You can do your back tires in the same manner, but you will have to remove your drive shafts to get them to spin freely. Maintenance is very important to any successful racing team. Get a good supply of old paint brushes and toothbrushes to clean your parts. Keep your car clean and routinely check it for worn ball joints. We can check the condition of our transmissions by doing a free spin. This transmission is in fair to average condition. This particular transmission was run very hard for a season at 2 to 3 races a week, and it developed quite a bind. I cleaned the bind by taking the transmission apart and cleaning it thoroughly, including taking the bearings out and cleaning them. It's very important that you clean your bearings at regular intervals, or else they'll build up a lot of grit and it'll ruin them. Motor cleaner works very well for breaking up the grit and helping to remove it. After I cleaned the bearings and cleaned my transmission, I picked up 8 laps at the local racetrack. It really does make a difference. Foam tires tend to chunk out, especially on asphalt, and it's very important you fix them before these chunks get larger. We like to use Duro black plastic rubber, or you can use many of the products found at hobby stores. Later, we'll show you how to take care of your motors. Winning usually doesn't come down to who spent the most money or who has the best car. It usually comes down to preparation. There's a wide variety of testing equipment available for RC car battery packs, and most beginners mistakenly think that you have to own this equipment to be competitive, but you don't. All you need to know are the secrets of electricity. Even if you can afford this equipment, it won't do you much good if you don't understand electricity, so now we'll discuss electrical basics. There are three fundamentals we will work with: voltage, amperage, and resistance. Voltage can be looked at as the amount of pressure in a circuit, amperage can be looked at as the amount of electricity in the circuit, and resistance is equal to electrical friction. We strongly suggest you invest in a good multimeter to read these three functions and learn how to use it. A decent multimeter will set you back $25 to $50 depending on its features. There's an extremely powerful formula we can utilize to find any one of these functions if we only know the other two, and it's called Ohm's law. It is stated as amperage equals voltage over resistance, with resistance stated in ohms. We can also algebraically rewrite it as voltage equals amperage times resistance, where resistance equals voltage divided by amperage. There are two types of circuits we will work with in chargers and battery packs. They're called parallel circuits and series circuits. In a parallel circuit, each item has its own path to positive and negative, and in a series, the electricity must travel through all items in its path. In a parallel circuit, batteries will provide more capacity but less voltage. In a series circuit, they will have more voltage and less capacity. Most batteries come wired in series. The positive side of one cell will be wired to the negative side of the other. Now we'll show you how battery packs are rated for capacity. If a battery is rated at 1400 milliamp hours, this means it can sustain a current of 1400 milliamps or 1.4 amps for 1 hour. Furthermore, if we know the capacity and know how long it took to discharge, we can also figure how much amps we averaged. If we have a 1400 milliamp pack and we discharge it in 4 minutes, that means we averaged 21 amps discharge. Here we have two cells, a 1400 SCR and a 1700 SCE. The SCR has more voltage but a little less capacity, and the SCE has more capacity but a little less voltage. We strongly suggest you start out with SCR packs, especially in stock class. Now I'll show you how to charge your packs and maintain them for best performance. We check the quality of our packs by looking at two properties: capacity, or how long that pack runs, and voltage, or how much punch it will provide. There are many ways to test this. One is to buy an expensive battery tester, and the second we will show you now. You don't need to break your bank account to know the condition of your batteries. I'll show you how you can make a battery checker for under $6. You will need 8 through 16 automotive taillight bulbs. 8 better simulates stock motors, and 16 simulates modified. You'll also need 2 to 3 feet of heavy gauge wire so it doesn't overheat. We suggest a 14 to 16 gauge. And then you'll need some kind of connector or alligator clip to fit your pack. We will be using these light bulbs to discharge our battery packs at a high rate. And by timing the amount of time it takes our battery packs to reach a given voltage, we can compare our packs. We're going to start out by soldering all of the negative sides of the bulbs together.